current owners announced a plan and they started it. It's a $500 million renovation. Now the building is an historic landmark, so there's limitations to what they can do in terms of changing the facade, but they're going to clean it up, replace the roof, completely remodel the interior, and they're turning it into an office building. So we are very excited that finally something is happening with it. Speaking of happening, here to our left, this is a brand new project that's recently broken ground. This is the new Riverline development. Now Riverline is going to be residences, eventually could include up to 10 buildings, ranging from 3-story townhomes up to a 29-story tower. So really going to transform this part of the river. Right now, folks, I'm actually going to shift gears for a bit, because it is about time I share with you one of Chicago's most iconic stories. And that is, of course, the story of the Great Chicago Fire. And the reason I tell it right now is because about a mile or two to our southwest is where you would have found Mrs. O'Leary's barn. And it was in early October of 1871 in that barn that apparently Mrs. O'Leary's cow kicked over a lantern, set the city ablaze. There's more to it than that, though. So at that time, we're in the middle of a drought. Conditions very dry. Also, Chicago, 1871, mostly made of wood. Combine that with the strong wind blowing that night, it created kind of a recipe for disaster. And that fire spread. It would jump the south branch of the river, burn east and north, jump the main branch. It would end up burning for about 30 hours. Taking with it over 3 square miles of the city, all the way up to Fullerton Avenue. Now, about 300 people lost their lives, but 100,000 people lost their homes. That's a third of the population at the time. So the city was devastated. But honestly, while the city was still smoldering, within a couple days, people were vowing to rebuild. And that's what happened. Over the next few years, and certainly over the next decade, Chicago really did rise from